Welcome to the platform Navigator. In this video, I want to talk about Ideate. Ideate is the first phase of the platform Navigator, and it's really all about getting inspired, seeing what's out there, getting really a good understanding what works and what doesn't work already as of today. And we have a framework to give you a holistic overview about what's out there. And this framework is really based on Porter's famous value chain. So we have each and every company has primary activities. And the primary activities are all about innovation. So you have to innovate first. And then it's about value creation. So in traditional companies, that might be production. Then you have to sell your products. Or in the platform economy, it's all about value exchange and, for example, marketplaces. And last but not least, you have to service your customers and interact with them. And complementary to these primary activities, we have support activities. And support activities, it's about HR, work and education. It's also about finance and management. And ultimately, we have to set the basis for our company to run efficiently and effectively. So we are talking about technology and data. So we defined 7 domains across the company. And for each of these domains, we provide you with 3 platform categories. And this shows you that your whole company is affected by the platform economy. So let's dive a little bit closer into the different platform categories which we highlight in the Navigator. And I really want to start off with the innovation platforms. So we give you examples. We introduce open innovation platforms like Innocentive, which help you to innovate. We introduce you to crowdfunding platforms like very successful platforms like Kickstarter. And we also give you a glimpse on co-innovation platforms like GitHub, which serve as a basis to collaborate and innovate with other companies and other organizations. In the domain of value creation, we introduce you to industrial innovation platforms. You all know the Apple App Store, but this App Store is also available in industry applications. For example, Esina has an App Store for security cameras. We also introduce you to data harvesting platforms like Waze, where people can contribute, and ultimately the Waze information is routed into Google Maps. Last but not least, asset sharing platforms like Airbnb, where you can share your home, are well known. But do you know that asset sharing platforms are also available in B2B, in different B2B industries? In the next domain, we really start with product marketplaces. Product marketplaces like Amazon. And then we go on with application and data marketplaces. We all know the Android Play Store or the Apple App Store. And ultimately, we touch upon service marketplaces. Service marketplaces like Uber, which are well known and really diverse. In the domain of service and interaction platforms, we first of all talk about peer-to-peer support platforms. An example is Mila. Swiss-based Mila is all about extending your service force by a factor of 10 without employing own people. It's just about getting the crowd involved. We are also talking about social media platforms, which for sure today are very important to reach and interact with your customers. Last but not least, in this domain, we talk about content and review platforms. Platforms like YouTube have become very important for each and every company. Also for very traditional product companies. Unboxing, best of videos, how-tos. These are very essential as of today to promote your products. If we move over to the support activities and the corresponding domains, work and education platforms are all over. In the times of COVID, we are all working with collaboration platforms like Zoom or Teams. A lot of companies are already leveraging education platforms like Udemy or Udacity, where you can get great education content for your company for very low costs. Or you already leverage freelance platforms like Fiverr or Upwork, where you can get support with websites, with development, and with graphics, with design. So there are a variety of freelance platforms which give you access to so-called gig workers. In the domain of finance, we also see an emerging ecosystem of platforms. Payment platforms like PayPal have revolutionized payment. Lending platforms like Revolut are really, like Lending Club, for example, are really changing lending business. A lot of companies as of today already invest in lending and financing. If you think about the large OEMs, they all have a bank. Now these lending platforms might become a competitor, right? So I don't finance my car via Volkswagen Bank, but I just use a lending platform. And last but not least, there are investment platforms which you can leverage to invest as a company, but also as a private person. Last but not least, we are talking about technology and data platforms. Technology platforms, the hyperscaler, have revolutionized computing. Microsoft Azure and Amazon AWS as typical technology platforms. But there are also application platforms like iOS, Android with their app stores, and they also have revolutionized what we have seen specifically in the smartphone environment. Last but not least, there are open source platforms. And the most prominent is Linux, where we have new ways of collaboration, where people and organizations collaborate in a very effective way to jointly develop software solutions. Summing up, in this video, I have introduced you to the first phase of the platform Navigator. The first phase is all about getting you in touch with different platform categories. Overall, we provide you with 2 examples for each of the 21 platform categories.